The procedure of reporting assets to the Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority simplified in the following easy steps. Step 1. Write an email to holders at ufaa.go.ke to request your profile to be created. Step 2. A link will be sent to the email provided for activation of the account. Step 3. Click on the link to activate the profile and change the password immediately. Step 4. For subsequent access, use the link provided here. In case of forgotten password, use Forgot Password link to create a new one. Step 5. After login, click on Assets to submit records, and if the client has subsidiary, you can create more users and manage users. Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Receive, safeguard, reunite.
Well, good evening, and thank you for joining us for tonight's edition of Channel One Weekend, a day, the 24th of October 2020, a day that has been occasioned by a huge rise and an increase in, of course, the number of COVID-19 cases, not only here in Kenya, but also worldwide. And we've had quite a number of huge, mainly political figures, of course, contracting COVID-19, led by Andrzej Duda, that is the Polish president, and also the Algerian president is also in isolation after members of his government contracted COVID-19. Besides that, of course, the BBI debate continues to rage on. A lot of that, you should be expecting a lot of conversation around that and all the updates right here on KBC Channel 1. I'm Richard Munga. Our sign language interpreter this evening is Byron Abuli. We'll be getting into much more shortly. But first, let's have a look at the news highlights. The rising curve, 12 more succumb to COVID-19 as 947 new cases are reported in the last 24 hours. Popularizing the BBI report, Kalonzo Musyoka faces a hard time in Nyeri County. Campaigns for and against the task force report gathers pace.
It is our mandate to make sure that we manage this issue in time for it not to go out of control.
And Mandera inter-clan clashes, 3 killed in renewed fighting amid calls for a ceasefire. Now let's get right into it with our top story tonight, whereby the latest data by the Ministry of Health indicates a continued rise in the number of COVID-19 related deaths after 12 more people succumbed to have the virus. After 12 more people, of course, succumbed to the virus in the last 24 hours. The COVID-19 curve continues to climb as the country reported 947 new infections from 6,862 samples tested. The number of patients in the intensive care unit stands at 22, with those requiring supplementary oxygen remaining steady at 62. 16 others are battling for their lives in the high dependency unit. Jacqueline Wambiru with details of the latest statistics, in which Uasin Gishu County recorded the highest number of new infections.
The latest data from the Ministry of Health indicates a continued worrying trend throughout the week as the number of COVID-19 infections and death rate increased across the country. The latest report indicating a surge in new infections of 947 people from a sample size of 6,862 tested in the last 24 hours, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 48,790. The death toll from the virus also approached the 900 mark after 12 people succumbed to the disease, bringing the total fatality rate to 896. The cumulative tests currently stand at 653,229. Tests in the last 24 hours indicate 924 Kenyans and 23 foreigners tested positive for the virus. Of these, 595 are males and 352 females. The youngest is a 1-year-old, while the oldest is 96. A total of 1,167 are admitted in various health facilities, while 3,464 are on home-based isolation and care. Uasin Gishu recorded the highest number of cases at 181, Nairobi at 154, Nakuru 146, Kakamega 46, Mombasa 37, Kisumu 37, Kiambu 30, Kericho 30, Busia 28, Turkana 27, Laikipia 24, Trans Nzoia 21, Migori 20, Kisii 18, Meru 17, West Pokot 15, Marsabit 14, Bungoma 13, Murang'a 11, Vihiga 10, among others. The ministry said 455 people have recovered from the disease, 343 from home-based care program, while 112 have been discharged from various hospitals, bringing the total number of recoveries to 33,876. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Jackie Wambiru.
Now, tension is high in Mandera County following fresh inter-clan fighting that has resulted in the death of 3 people. Trouble is said to have started when 2 people were shot dead, prompting a retaliatory attack that resulted in the death of 1 more person. An emergency peace meeting was held Saturday morning to quell the rising tensions amid calls for a ceasefire. Yusuf Farah with details of the renewed fighting believed to have been triggered by a protracted border dispute.
The Friday night events resulting in the death of 3 people will see leaders and police within Mandera County gather Saturday morning in a bid to quell the rising tensions among the Garre and Amurula communities. The area governor Ali Roba, leading the peace talks, called for an immediate cessation of violence.
It is our mandate to make sure that we manage this issue in time for it not to go out of control.
Other leaders are present at the meeting called for the settling of the long-standing boundary dispute as a long-term measure to ending the frequent flare.
We also asked the administration to also play its role, which is very critical. Anybody involved or found culpable or in violation of any peace must be brought to justice with immediate effect.
And we came here to calm that situation so that there's no more fight between the 2 communities, so that we tell people that there's no point of fighting again.
The meeting comes amid rising tensions, with the county security team led by the Deputy County Commissioner cautioning against taking the law into their own hands, even as he gave an assurance that those responsible for the deaths will be brought to book.
Mtu akifanya shida ama auwe mwenzake ama haribu mali ya mwenzake ni kinyume na sheria na anatakana kukabiliwa na sheria bila kuhurumiwa.
2 other people who were injured during the attack on Friday are admitted at ELYANA'S hospital. Yusuf Farah, Channel 1 News.
A quite alarming report indeed. Now, elsewhere, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, who was on a BBI campaign to sell the BBI report in Nyeri County, was forced to abandon his mission as residents declined to listen to his address. Musyoka, however, says he will continue to popularize the content of the report aimed at changing the lives of Kenyans.
Nimesikia pale kwa soko na naheshimu sana wase moja wakisema Kalonzo, we have no problem with you, lakini BBI hatutaki. We have a business to try to convince them because it's also their, ni haki yao, si ndio? Ni haki yao kukataa seme mpaka waelezewe vizuri, mpaka kila mtu aone hii ndio njia na ndio barabara. Kiona mtu anapiga kelele yake pande hii, mwingine pande hii, wengine, hiyo ni hali ya demokrasi yetu. Kwa hivyo nawashangilia sana watu wa Nyeri kwa kutoa vile yale ambayo wako kwa roho zao.
Meanwhile, the contents of the Building Bridges to Unity Task Force report continues to attract praise and condemnation in equal measure. Stakeholders in various sectors delve into the report. In the latest debate, stakeholders are calling for a clear roadmap on how their concerns will be incorporated into the report ahead of the planned stakeholders forum on Monday at the Bomas of Kenya. Safina Chengoma with the BBI debate as the weekend kicked off.
With just 24 hours left to the official launch of the BBI report at the Bomas of Kenya, debate remains rife on the proposals by the Yusuf Haji-led task force. A section of politicians are now calling for a clear roadmap on how their concerns will be incorporated into the final draft.
There are good things we support, like the inclusion of devolution, moving devolved funds from 15 to 35%. Those are very good proposals. But we must also accept that there are very dangerous provisions in that BBI report, which, if they are not properly taken care of, can lead this country to chaos.
Valid, they are not straight. Persons living with disabilities also adding their voice to the debate, faulting the report for classifying persons with disabilities under the special interest group, denying them the chance to benefit from available opportunities.
I think you are aware that SIG, special interest groups, include persons with disabilities. Yet when it comes to now the real cake, you realize that the disability aspect is left. BBI is bringing in inclusion, and inclusion must be very, very clear in BBI in regard to persons with disabilities in this country.
Even as we talk about expansion of women's spaces in issues of politics, leadership, election, governance and all that, our persons with disability should never be left behind.
We must prepare ourselves on how we are going to ensure that the BBI also passes and pushes and factors in the agenda of persons with disabilities.
Meanwhile, Machakos Governor Dr. Alfred Mutua, who was in Mombasa, has called for the government to enhance civic education to enlighten Kenyans on the crop of leadership they need to elect.
Wananchi wanapaswa kuelimishwa, waambiwe huyu ndio yule anafaa. CV ya kiongozi anayepaswa kuwa president, MP, senator inapaswa kuwa hivi. MCA, hii ndio CV yake, minimum qualifications.
Stakeholders are expected to gather at the Bomas of Kenya on Monday to air their views on the contents of the report during its official launch. For Channel 1 News, I'm Safin Aching Oma.
Lots of conflicting views, of course, on that issue, but you can also share with us your view on the same issue via social media platforms on Facebook at KBC Channel 1, and that also applies on Twitter at KBC Channel 1. You can tweet me directly at Munga_Mbatia. And always remember, for more BBI-related stories, you can log on to our website, www.kbc.co.ke. Now, moving on, Malindi Member of Parliament Aisha Jumwa and our co-accused Geoffrey Otieno are spending the weekend behind bars after they failed to raise the money to secure their release. Jumwa was ordered to pay a cash bill of 4 million shillings, while Otieno was ordered to pay 1.5 million shillings to secure his freedom. The duo pleaded not guilty to murdering 48-year-old Ngubao Jilo during the Ganda ward by-elections last year.
The ruling on Friday afternoon by Mombasa High Court, Lady Justice Njoki Mwangi, granted bail to the two murder suspects despite objections from the prosecution. The judge ordered Jumo to pay 4 million shillings as cash bail or bond of 3 million shillings, while her aide and co-accused was ordered to pay a cash bill of 1.5 million or bond of 1 million shillings. The duo will, however, remain in custody after they failed to raise the money to secure their freedom. They are currently being held at the Port Police Station as they seek the bail money. The duo have been in custody since Monday when they were arrested in connection with the murder of Ngumbao Jola during the Ganda ward by-elections in Malindi last year. Reporting for Channel 1 News from Mombasa County, I'm Michael Mondiga.
Now, also a family in Maua Igembe South, Meru County, is seeking justice after their expectant kin was allegedly assaulted, leading to the death of her unborn child. The family says doctors had to surgically deliver the dead fetus following an unprovoked attack on the mother by another woman at the Maua market.
The pain of losing a child just days away from delivery. Sahara Jama, a trader at the Maua market, says her physical and emotional pain is too much to bear.
Maneno yenye imetendeka ndo nasikia uchungu kama mama. Ile nilikuwa nataka ni haki itendeke. Isiangaliwe kabila, isiangaliwe pesa, iangaliwe haki. Na hii bendera inasimamia kila mtu, haisimami kabila. Hiyo ndo tunataka. Wamama wale wako hapo Maua, Meru County, tunataka haki itendeke. Mtoto amekufa, mama ameumia.
Sahara's family says it will push to ensure there is no miscarriage of justice, even as they question why Sahara's attacker is yet to be apprehended.
Yo mama tumeshika yeye tukapeleka kwa station costly police. Maneno sasa sisi tukasikia uchungu sana, vibaya sana. Hiyo maneno tunataka tupate sheria, mpaka tukaenda tukapigia lawyer huko Nairobi na madaktari, tukaleta mpaka hapa tupate justice to haki.
Such people should be taken to books and the law should take its stand.
A post-mortem analysis revealed that Sahara's baby had suffered a broken lower jaw and had traces of blood in the stomach and the brain.
Tumepata kwamba alikuwa na damu kwenye tumbo. Hiyo kwa kizungu tunaita hemoperitoneum. Kwa ubongo tumepata pia kulikuwa na damu ambayo ilikuwa imejaa.
Shughulikia mama wakati alipokuja kwetu, tukamfanyia operation ambayo tuliweza kumsaidia yule mama, na tunapoongea kwa sasa mama kwa katika hali mzuri.
Timothy Kipnusu for Channel 1 News.
Such a sad ordeal, and we indeed hope that the authorities are going to bring those culpable to justice. Also, lawyer Onesmus Masaku, who succumbed to injuries after allegedly being assaulted by a Makueni-based police officer, was laid to rest amid calls for justice. He was eulogized as a fearless advocate. Meanwhile, West Pokot activist Dennis Kapchok, alias MULUMWA'S, was arrested and is currently being held at Capitol Hill Police Station in Nairobi. The activist claims his arrest is politically instigated.
The burial of the late Onesmus Masaku in his Kangundo home was characterized by rising calls for justice for the man who was allegedly assaulted by a police officer. It is at his burial that pressure continued to mount for President Uhuru Kenyatta to appoint the 41 judges proposed by the Judicial Service Commission a year ago, with the Law Society of Kenya saying the delay was causing confusion in the legal practice. Law Society of Kenya President Nelson Harvey termed the president's failure to appoint judges as a gross violation of the Constitution. The mourners eulogized Masaku as a fearless lawyer who stood for justice. The police officer alleged to have chopped off his hand is expected to be charged with the murder after the DPP amended the charges from attempted murder following his demise. Meanwhile, in West Pokot, activist Dennis Kapchok, alias MULUMWA'S, was arrested by officers from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations and driven to Nairobi over what the activist says is a social media post in which he is critical of a local politician.
Ameogopa kwamba juzi tumecollect 60,000 signatures ya kurikodi yeye shirikiana na Council of Elders. Hiyo ndio tukaja akapatoika na katafuta chote ambacho anaweza kunipin nayo. But the reality and the truth is it is a political weekend, malicious, and it is very unfair. Na kama kulikuwa na hiyo issue, it could be handled at Kapenguria police station.
Kapchok is said to have been picked up at Kapenguria at 2 p.m. West Pokot leaders, led by Pokot South Member of Parliament David Pusing, have condemned his arrest, calling for his unconditional release.
Mimi nataka niambie police, mimi nataka niambie Inspector General of Police ambaye ni rafiki yangu na ambaye mimi naona yeye anasikia maneno ama anasikia issues ya wananchi. Mimi nataka niambie Inspector of Police by today evening tunataka tujue huyo kijana ako wapi, arudishwe mpaka hapa makutano alive na police.
Caroline Kamau reporting for Channel 1 News.
Well, remember to log on to our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke, for more news, of course, what you've had, and much more. And remember to keep the feedback coming in via social media platforms on Facebook at KBC Channel 1 and also on Twitter at KBC Channel 1. Don't go too far, as we'll be back with much more just shortly.
The procedure of reporting assets to the Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority is simplified in the following easy steps. Step 1. Write an email to holders at ufaa.go.ke to request your profile to be created. Step 2. A link will be sent to the email provided for activation of the account. Step 3. Click on the link to activate the profile and change the password immediately. Step 4. For subsequent access, use the link provided here. In case of forgotten password, use Forgot Password link to create a new one. Step 5. After login, click on Assets to submit records, and if the client has subsidiary, you can create more users and manage users. Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Receive, safeguard, reunite. This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Unasaidiaje?
Kama unavyotuona, huyu hapa ni rafiki yangu, na zaidi ya rafiki ni kama ndugu yangu vile. Ana matatizo. Ningeomba msaidie.
Bwana, hatutaka. Mimi bwana nimeitwa mkutano wa dharura na hivi sasa naondoka.
Kweli bwana, lakini kabla hujatoka bwana, nilikuwa ninakuja nikuulize bwana. Kazi tushamaliza kufanya, ile tendo umenipa nifa. Lakini sasa malipo vipi?
Sasa hivi mimi natoka kumalizana nao. Sasa hivi wewe tarajia pesa wakati wote kuanzia sasa. Utapata pesa zako. Okay. Sawa bwana?
Sawa.
The CAF Confederation Cup Final live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1 this Sunday, the 25th of October 2020. RS Berkane, featuring in their second consecutive CAF Confederation Cup Final, takes on Pyramids Club of Egypt, first-time finalists in a breathtaking final, which will be staged in Rabat, Morocco. Cruised to the final by eliminating compatriot Hassania Gadir by 2-1, while Pyramids axed in Club Horoya by hitting them 2-0. Who will be crowned the 2020 CAF Confederation Cup champions? Find out by watching the action live on KBC Channel 1 this Sunday, kicking off at 10 p.m. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Now, welcome back. And a young couple from Kimunya village in Kirinyaga East Sub-County is living in agony after their 10th-month-old firstborn daughter was diagnosed with a rare liver disease. The family requires 8 million shillings to have her undergo a delicate liver transplant in India to save her life. Time is also of the essence, as she requires to undergo the surgery before she turns 1 year old.
Caroline Waruguru struggles to fight her tears. She is a mother in pain. Her one and only child, 10-month-old Eliana Watire, has been diagnosed with a rare liver disease that has necessitated a transplant.
We were leaving the hospital. We noticed some yellow in the eyes, which was of great concern. We consulted the doctors, and they said that we should sunbathe the baby. But upon visiting regular clinics, it was noted that the yellow is still in the eyes. And with that, we are referred to a pediatrician in Nyeri, who directed us to do some tests, some liver function tests, and also an ultrasound to check the functioning of the liver.
At the beginning, they didn't think much of it, but tests at Kenyatta National Hospital revealed the baby's condition was serious and can only be corrected through an operation, which is unfortunately not available in the country.
We moved to Kijabe, where they said now it's time to start planning for the liver transplant. And since the procedure is not available in Kenya, we are referred to Kenyatta, and now the Kenyatta National Hospital, which will refer us to India for that treatment.
The procedure will involve baby Eliana and one of her parents undergoing an operation to harvest a piece of liver that will be transplanted to her. The child's father, Evans Njoroge, says they are both undergoing tests to determine who is more compatible to be her donor, noting that baby Eliana might not see her second birthday if the transplant is not done as soon as possible. The family is now appealing to well-wishers to come to their aid and help them save the life of their daughter.
That the transplant needs to be made or needs to be performed as the girl turns 1 year. So that means by January, we should have undergone the process. So it's a matter of urgency, and we are appealing to the well-wishers and people of goodwill to come in and support us in this great cause to save our baby, Eliana. The estimate of the cost is going to be about around 8 million.
Contributions to assist the desperate family can be sent via M-Pesa, pay bill number 8018565, account number Eliana Watire. Caroline Kamar reporting for Channel 1 News Hour.
Well, of course, just for those who did not quite get that number, the pay bill number, of course, for baby ELYANA'S medical pill, the pay bill number is 8018565, and of course, the account number name is Eliana Watire. Now, let's have a look at what's happening at the counties whereby traffic came to a standstill along Limuru Road earlier today as police engaged boda riders in running battles following the death of a rider in a traffic accident. The irate riders were repulsed by police as they attempted to ban the vehicle that had hit their colleague. More details of that, of course, and much more coming up in the county briefs.
These were the scenes along Limuru Road Saturday. Police officers forced to lob tear gas to disperse the irate boda riders who were anchored at the death of their colleague in a traffic accident. The operators accused the driver of being on the wrong, resulting to the death of their colleague. They also accused police of using excessive force during the fracas.
Ukiwa mtu wa bodaboda ugongwe na gari, hata ugongwe na kitu chochote kuhapenie kwa barabara, wewe unachukuliwa tu ni kama umbwa tu amegongwa ama buzi, na unaachwa tu hivyo. Hivi ni kumaanisha sisi watu wa bodaboda tunachukuliwa tu kimzaha.
Elsewhere, family in Munengere village in Mathira constituency, Nyeri County, is seeking help from well-wishers to help bury their kin who died 2 months ago, and his body is still held up at Consolata Mathari Mission Hospital due to a hospital bill amounting to 800,000 shillings. The mother of 3 says they have sold everything towards his treatment and have nothing left.
Tumeweza kulipa ni 1.4 na NHIF ikatulipia 330,000. Sasa yenye imebaki ni 800. Sasa ningetaka kuwauliza watu wareho mzuri nisaidie juu nimeuza kila kitu. Hiyo wakati wote nimeenda hospitali, nilikuwa naenda daily, nilikuwa natumia pesa wakati huo. Sasa vitu yangu yote imeisha, nimeuza ng'ombe, nimeuza buzi, sina kitu, hata kazi nilikuwa nayo imeisha yote.
Meanwhile, a family in Thigio area of Ndeiye in Kiambu County is calling on the government to help conserve a mass grave belonging to Mau Mau freedom fighters who were executed by the colonial government and allegedly buried in a mass grave. According to the family spokesman Francis Gikuyu Kamau, it has been difficult to develop the piece of land.
Hawa walizikwa hapa. Kunaweza kuwa na uwezekano ili hatengenezwe kama museum. Majina ya hao kwa vile wanajulikana wote, maandiko ya majina yao wawe wakikumbukwa kama wale walipigania uhuru na wakakufa.
And the Parliamentary Committee on Agriculture and Livestock has called on the national government to include ranch owners in its plans to operationalize Bachuma Livestock Export Processing Zone. The plant will be used as a holding zone for livestock before they are exported.
Now that we have ranches in Taita Taveta, we also want to see value chain from these ranches. Our ranches should be supported to be feeding this facility so that the Taitas or the areas around here or the people around here are able to benefit from this project. It's a national project and we appreciate the government for doing a good job. We want to see money flowing to our people from this project.
And a middle-aged man has died after a pit latrine was digging caved in at Shikuyu Primary School in Lurambe, Kakamega County. The wall of the latrine is reported to have collapsed, burying him under the debris. One other person who was with him escaped unhurt.
Walikuwa wawili ndani ya choo, watatu tulikuwa tunafuta mchanga. Mmoja aliokolewa, alifunikwa mchanga kufikia hapa. Wakaweza kutoa hiyo mchanga, alafu mwingine akafunikwa kabisa.
Separately, the Kisumu Muslim Association has moved to reclaim a 2-acre piece of prime land hours after the High Court ruled in their favor. They stormed the land moments after the ruling that ended a 40-year protracted land tussle.
Lakini cha kushangaza ni kuwa baada ya mwaka wa 2010 kuna baadhi ya watu ambao waliapply hii ardhi na baada ya miezi miwili wakapewa hii ardhi. Wakati sisi tumeapply ardhi kuanzia miaka ya 85 hatukuweza kupewa title deed ya hii ardhi.
Timothy Kipnusu for Channel 1 News.
Now for the global coronavirus update, whereby the World Health Organization is warning the Northern Hemisphere is facing a crucial moment in fighting the coronavirus pandemic, with many countries witnessing an exponential increase in coronavirus cases. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom is now urging leaders to take immediate action to prevent further unnecessary deaths.
The stark warning on Friday came as the number of coronavirus cases more than doubled in 10 days across Europe, with several southern European countries reporting their highest daily case numbers this week. So far, Europe has recorded more than 7.8 million cases and about 247,000 deaths from the coronavirus pandemic. Meanwhile, the United States recorded its biggest single-day rise in infections, with more than 70,000 since July on Thursday, amid concerns of a third wave of COVID-19 gripping the worst affected country in the world. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom said the globe is at a critical juncture in the COVID-19 pandemic, particularly in the northern hemisphere. The WHO warned that the co-circulation of the annual flu season in winter months and COVID-19, both of which cause respiratory illness, could place an additional burden on the vulnerable populations and healthcare systems that are already stretched because of the pandemic. Tedros said too many countries were now seeing an exponential increase in infections, and that is now leading to hospitals and intensive care units running close to above capacity. Following months-long lockdowns and border closures, countries have gradually eased restrictions and reopened businesses to salvage economies crippled by the pandemic. The novel coronavirus has infected over 42 million people and killed at least 1.1 million people since the outbreak emerged in China last December, according to data collected by Johns Hopkins University. For Channel 1 News, I am Emily K. Bade.
Now, as matters continue to, of course, worsen for some of the countries in especially Europe and South America, maybe just the total number of coronavirus cases, confirmed cases so far since when the pandemic started, is at 42,766,185, with unfortunately a million people, that is 1,152,635 losing their lives. But at least there's a ray of sunshine, there's a ray of hope ahead, as 31,570,113 have recovered so far. So, of course, it's important to follow the guidelines issued by the Ministry of Health to reduce the numbers, even here in Kenya, where, of course, the numbers are rising. More than 900 cases reported today. That's a huge number. So hopefully we can do all we can as citizens to also ensure the curve, of course, is going down. Well, no, don't go too far, as we're going to be taking a short commercial break, but we're going to be back with more.
The CAF Confederation Cup final live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1 this Sunday, the 25th of October 2020. RS Berkane, featuring in their second consecutive CAF Confederation Cup final, takes on Pyramids Club of Egypt, first-time finalists in a breathtaking final, which will be staged in Rabat, Morocco. Cruised to the final by eliminating compatriot Hassania Gadir by 2-1, while Pyramids axed Guinean club Horoya by hitting them 2-0. Who will be crowned the 2020 CAF Confederation Cup champions? Find out by watching the action live on KBC Channel 1 this Sunday, kicking off at 10 p.m. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
We need this win, Wanjala. You have to win.
They are fearless, yet friendly.
I hope hauna machungu after ile game ya mwisho.
I'm allowed to be concerned about you, Wanjala. I'm your wife.
I will take good care of you. Fierce, yet fair.
Pa combo sasa. Pop. Foza kidogo. Pop pop.
Firm, yet faultless.
You embarrassed Mom. All of us.
But it would be nice if someone would look out for me too.
You don't listen to me.
Because you always want to tell me how to...
Jemo unadu nini hapa?
You are embarrassing me.
Kona, Kenya's daily drama.
Taina train ya tona muhimu sana kwa life yangu. Kwa hivyo vile mimi nafanya hapa ni upuzi.
Naweza kukusaidia kujua ni akina nani?
Mimi siwezi tukua msaada kutoka kwa Saitani. What is this? It's a make or break chance.
Your fun, fabulous, full team of Kona. Every fine weekday, right here on KBC Channel 1.
Well, now let's have a look at the sports news making headlines today, whereby Kenya top seeds Ishmael Changawa and Ibrahim Kibet warmed up for their forthcoming international tournaments in Swaziland and Egypt, respectively, by taking part in an exhibition match at the Nairobi club. The mixed doubles contest saw Changawa and Rosalinda Sumo register 2 sets to love win over Ibrahim Kibet and Angela Okutoyi.
Time Kenya Open champion Ishmael Changawa teamed up with Rosalinda Sumwa, who is second-ranked junior tennis player in Africa, behind her sister Angela Okutoyi in the duel, managing to register a 6-3, 7-5 win.
It feels good to be back. Actually, I'm really happy, you know. We've been practicing a lot out there, and you know, and the competition, no competition. So this is our first competition for 7 months, almost like 8 months right now.
I've been training, so I was just waiting for this match to play.
Changawa used the match to prepare for an invitational tournament, which will feature top African seeds due in Swaziland from November 4th to 8th.
That's it in the invitation. So they choose only the pick number 1 each country, and then they go play But they confirm already, so I'm just waiting for their feedback, and then we take it from there.
Rosalinda was due to feature in the Africa Junior Championship in Togo in March, but the tournament was cancelled following the global outbreak of coronavirus. Says she was heartened by the return of the action.
I've missed everything, the coaches, everyone. It was a pleasure to meet people here. I was going for Togo, playing a tournament there, and then go for AJC team event, but the COVID-19 did bad.
Meanwhile, Ibrahim Kibet reckoned the championship helped him gauge himself ahead of the Egypt Championship, which kicks off on November 26th.
The ITF I'm going to play in Egypt is going to be tough. So this match has shown me what I really need to work on, like in the few days I have left, because the tournament is on November 26th. So I have a couple of weeks to like prepare, like get ready, like sharpen up whatever I need to sharpen up before I get to the tournament, because it's a pretty intense tournament and I really want to go and do well. Well, the tournament which I'm going for is really important because it's going to help me a lot, like build my game, because that's what I'm looking for in the next couple of years. I want to build my game to be a better player so I can understand the game better, and when I feel like I'm done, I can just go back into coaching and I'll have so much experience because I've played a lot, I've traveled a lot, so this tournament is going to help me a lot, just become a better player and a better person in tennis.
Africa top junior female player Angela Okutoyi, who missed a chance to participate at the Youth Olympics following the COVID-19 outbreak, said the match helped her gain form as she prepares for the 2021 season.
When I was playing, I could just see like this is not my level, because with a lot of mistakes and not playing how I usually play since I've been at home for a couple of months, so I've not yet gotten my momentum. But if I continue playing more matches and practicing hard, yeah, it's just gonna be good. COVID appeared, I was actually in a tournament in Casablanca, grade 1, and my partner and I, Aisha, we were in J1 doubles finals, but we couldn't play it because of the pandemic, so they had to cancel all the tournaments, including that tournament, so they had to like divide all the points, which wasn't that good. And also I was supposed to go to the Youth Olympics, but due to this I can't go because it has been postponed, and the year which they have put it, I'll be old to participate.
Bernard Okumu, the sports at 9.
Meanwhile, newly appointed Harambee Stars tactician Jacob Ghost Mulee says he will stick with the squad selected by his predecessor Francis Kimanzi ahead of the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations back-to-back qualifiers against Comoros in November. Mulee joined Stars on a 3-year contract following the exit of Francis Kimanzi and now insists that he shall not make any changes to the squad that beat Zambia 2-1 in an international friendly match played earlier this month at the Nyayo National Stadium in Nairobi. Stars will move to residential training on October 26th, first with local-based players, before the foreign-based legion starts arriving on November 2nd, ahead of the first match slated for November 11th at the Kasarani Stadium. Meanwhile, former KCB defender Mike Kibwage says opponents will have a tough time playing against his new sides for Park FC once the 2020-2021 Kenya Premier League season starts. The Nairobi-based team has been strengthening ahead of the forthcoming campaign, and the former KCB defender is among the new players on board. The 22-year-old said it is a big opportunity to play under John Baraza, who is rated as one of the best upcoming coaches in the country. The youngster will link again with former Kamega Homeboys coach Mike Mirori, who is working under Baraza. Apart from Kibwage, the 2009 league winners have signed 7 more players in the current transfer window, among them Lawrence Juma from Gor Mahia, veteran striker Paul Kiongera, former APR Rwanda captain Isaac Mitima, Nigerian Michael Karamor, Michael Bodo, Roy Okal and Kevin Omondi. Now, following the recent safety equipment grant from FIA Disability and Accessibility Commission, Kenya's paraplegic driver Nikhil Sachania has taken advantage of the COVID-19 pandemic period to fine-tune his hand-controlled Mitsubishi Evolution 10 for next year's World Rally Championship Safari Rally event.
The reigning 3-time Kenyan SPV champion has already fitted the certified safety fuel tank as part of the FIA Disability Grant in June. The leader of the KCB Kenya National Rally Championship S-Class and Division 1 logs is now racing against time for Certificate of Adoption eligibility after visiting FIA delegates recommended further upgrades. His car was recently inspected by Natasha Disivuli, Project and Commission Manager Safety Department, and Joseph Halter, Engineer Delegate from FIA. Nikhil revealed that his SPV will be upgraded in phases well in time for the WRC Safari Rally Kenya next year. The FIA Disability and Accessibility Commission offers support to disabled drivers through the no-cost supply of a range of safety equipment. Sachania was hoping to make his WRC Safari debut in July 2020, but due to the global health emergency, he has had ample time to rework his hand-controlled SPV ahead of the event rescheduled for next year.
And to continental news, Egyptian giants Al Ahly beat Wydad Casablanca of Morocco 3-1 in Cairo to reach, of course, to qualify for this year's African Champions League final. Al Ahly will now face either Morocco's Raja Casablanca or Cairo rival Zamalek in next month's final, which will take place in Egypt.
Al Ahly record 8 times African champions secured their place with a 5-1 aggregate victory, having won the first leg 2-0 in Casablanca last weekend. Al Ahly have now won their last 17 home African Champions League games, the longest streak in the competition's history. The Egyptians went ahead just after 7 minutes through Marwan Mohsen, although the goal was only confirmed after a lengthy VAR check.
Tipped over the top, the flag has gone up for Marwan. The goal will not count. Going up to VAR. It's a goal. It's been given.
An impressive individual effort from Hussein El Shahat in the 26th minute brought Al Ahly their second goal.
El Shahat, he's making a mockery of the defense.
With defender Yasser Ibrahim adding a third when he headed home a corner on the hour mark. Wydad grabbed a consolation goal through Zahi El Mutaraji 9 minutes from the end.
Opportunity here. Long range effort. Oh, what a goal!
Pitso Msimane's Al Ahly will now face either Morocco's Raja Casablanca or Cairo rivals Zamalek in next month's final, which will take place in Egypt. Their semi-final second leg will now take place next weekend because of an outbreak of COVID-19 infections in the Raja camp.
And of course, not to mention that was the CAF Champions League, but the CAF Confederation Cup is coming to a close tomorrow. And the final is between Pyramids versus RSB Berkane. And that match will be brought live to you right here on KBC Channel 1 tomorrow as from 10 p.m. So remember to stay tuned in to our subsequent bulletins for more updates, just in case of injuries and whatnot in regards to that match. Now, internationally, Leeds United ended Aston Villa's winning start to the Premier League season thanks to a brilliant Patrick Bamford hat-trick. Leeds are now 2 points and a place behind Villa, who remain second, a point behind leaders Everton.
Villa came into the game having won their first 4 games of a league campaign for the first time since 1930, but 3 expert finishes from Leeds striker Patrick Bamford
into the penalty area, drills a low shot, and it comes out, and it's there!
Prevented the hosts making it a club record 5 victories on the spin to open their season. The result lifts Leeds to third, their highest position at the end of a day in the division since September 2002. It was a reward for a positive performance from an injury-hit visiting side that should probably have yielded more goals. Leeds record signing Rodrigo was guilty of spanning good opportunities, slicing one shot wide before seeing an effort blocked by Azri Konsa. Leeds are now 2 points and a place behind Villa, who remain second, a point behind leaders Everton.
Now, Real Madrid beat Barcelona 3-1 in an entertaining El Clasico played behind closed doors. Elsewhere, Michael Antonio scored a wonderful goal to earn his side a hard-earned point against Manchester City, who have now won once in 4 Premier League games.
Collecting from Busquets, he finds Ansu Fati, tries to return it. Right, making a run, Valverde with an opportunity! 1-0 to Real Madrid, Valverde with the goal. Benzema gives the assist, the defence absolutely wide open, and Fede Valverde with his second goal of the season, making absolutely no mistake. And Barcelona respond. Jordi Alba cuts it in, and it's an equaliser. Ansu Fati, that's the way to respond. The Clasico gets off to an electrifying start. 8 minutes on the clock. Neto the chance for the Madrid captain to put Madrid back in the lead, and he does it. Ramos the man. Neto went the right way but couldn't get there. It's superbly taken. He didn't blast it this time. Took it low as you suggested, and it's Barcelona 1, Real Madrid 2. Here you go now, Modric. Neto out of place, and Modric with the finish. The Clasico goes back to Madrid. 3 points for Zinedine Zidane's champions.
It in. Soufal in towards Antonio. Oh, that's brilliant! What a goal from Mikel Antonio! Excellent ball in. Off goes Cancelo for Manchester City. Foden with a shot. That's what he's come on to do. Well, there's the impact off the bench that Pep Guardiola was looking for. And Phil Foden with the instant impact to get Manchester City level.
quite an interesting turn of events this season in the Premier League and also La Liga. And thanks to that win, Real Madrid are first on the La Liga standings, having played 6 games and won 4, meaning they're first with 13 points. Real Sociedad is second, Villarreal third, Osasuna fourth, while Getafe is in fifth. The loss for Barcelona, of course, which is its second loss so far this season, leaves Barcelona in the 12th position, only having garnered 7 points. And just a few minutes ago, we had another English Premier League match coming to a conclusion. I'm talking about Chelsea playing away to Manchester United, a match which unfortunately just ended in a 0-0, in a barren draw, really. Just a glimpse of the table at the moment. Everton is leading the table on 13 points. Aston Villa is second on 12 points. Who would have thought? Leeds United is third on 10 points. Liverpool fourth, while Crystal Palace is fifth. Chelsea, after today's draw, is sixth on the table, while Manchester United is rotting in 15th place tonight. In 13th place, rather. Apologies for that. That brings us to the end of Channel 1 Weekend. Our sign language interpreter was Byron Obole. I'm Richard Munga. Don't go too far, as the weather update is coming up next with Yusuf Farah. Have a good night.
Temperatures have dropped to 11 degrees in Narok, making it the coldest tonight. Rainfall is expected in counties over the western, northwest, central and parts of the eastern region. Hello there. My name is Yusuf Farah. Many thanks for keeping it Channel 1. This is your Channel 1 weather updates. Tomorrow morning, Lodwar wakes up to sunny intervals. Kisii and Kericho will be experiencing rains accompanied by sunny intervals. The coastal region, Mombasa, Kwale, Kilifi and Lamu will be having showers in the morning accompanied by sunny intervals. For residents of the capital city, Nairobi, expect sunny intervals as well. In the afternoon, showers and thunderstorms in Kisumu, Kisii, Kericho and Eldoret. For residents of the coastal region, expect partly cloudy conditions with sunny intervals. Areas of the northeastern region will have partly cloudy conditions with sunny intervals as well. Temperatures now, Lodwar highs of 37, lows of 26, Nairobi highs of 25, lows of 15, and Voi highs of 31 and lows of 22. That wraps up the local weather forecast. My name is Yusuf Farah. Many thanks again for keeping it Channel 1. I leave you with the international weather forecast. Have yourself a lovely night.
Praise God, Kenya. This is George Lukoe, Pastor, Community Impact Center, Makuyu, Murang'a County. God has a plan for every one of us. And I have seen or heard people say that there are people who are called outcasts. There are people who are called rejects. But I want to nullify that and tell you, there is nobody who is an outcast. There is nobody who is a reject. God created all of us with a purpose and for a purpose. Nobody is on earth without a purpose. There is a reason as to why God brought you here on earth. And the reason was to fulfill his purpose and to fulfill his will. Ephesians 1:4 says that he chose us before the foundations of the earth. That means before God created everything else, he had you in his mind. And that means God knew you'll be born the year you were born, the time you were born, because